Well, hello there. My name's Jason, or Are They Strife, and I'm here to talk about the things that I love, which makes me a lot like everyone else on the internet, but I'm less angry and I don't have a big bushy beard. This is my What I Love About series, where I cuddle my cat and talk about how cute he is. He is damn cute. It's actually where I talk about the things in games that I love, whether that's in a game that I love overall or in a game I don't. Usually, though, it will be one delicious part of the entire pie. I'm actually quite hungry. I'm going to go eat. Come on. Right, I've eaten and the cat's happy, so let's continue on with this video stuff, shall we? This week I'm going to be talking about Terraria, which came out back in 2011 and has been constantly updating ever since, which means that even if you've played it before, if it's been a while, it might actually feel like a completely different game. Now, there are a few different things about Terraria that I really like. The boss design, for example, which somehow manages to keep the line between being incredibly creepy and really cute thanks to the art style. The fact that the lore is all about how Cthulhu is trying to destroy the world, which is a big part of what makes the bosses so damn good, or even just the ability to dig a really long hole all the way down to the underworld, a convenience which modern life is sorely lacking. I'm not going to focus on those though. Today I'm going to be talking about the class system. If you've not played in a while, you might not even remember there being a class system, but worry not, it's a very different one from the one that keeps us all oppressed in real life. In fact, it's a lot more fun than most class systems in most games, and that's because it's so goddamn flexible. There are 4 main classes in Terraria: melee, ranged, magic, and summoner, each of which has their own strengths and weaknesses, and each of which is a blast to play with. They're also not necessarily what you'd expect, well, apart from the summoner, who does about as much work as you might think. The melee class actually has a surprisingly long range thanks to a few different weapons. Things like yo-yos and boomerangs have the same reach as some of the ranged weapons that you might find later on in the game. In fact, some of the later game swords even do things like fire out Nyan Cats. Do you remember Nyan Cats? Terraria Farm remembers. The range builds are great at dealing damage at range, but often have to spend hours of farming in order to get the materials you need to make the best ammo. That being said, it is worth it when the best ammo can do things like automatically home in on your enemies. There are even a couple of weapons which fire things like piranhas. Have I mentioned how over the top the weapons are? Mages can shoot fireballs, cast brilliant rays of light, or even just cast down the stars themselves at their enemies. While they may have access to an absurd amount of damage, range, and flexibility, using a mage requires a good amount of potion management, excellent mana resources, and a lot more attention than some of the other classes. Summoners don't do much fighting themselves. They're effectively the middle management of the Terraria world. Instead, they opt to summon things to fight on their behalf. This can include things like a horde of spiders, a horde of UFOs, or even just one really large stardust dragon to do the fighting for them. They can also summon an array of turrets, the best of which is a magically appearing lunar portal that fires a huge death beam at everything that around it. They have low defense though, and struggle if you don't give the summons enough room. The reason the system is so much fun is that to change class, all you need to do is have the right equipment. If you wear a mage's clothes, then you'll be a mage. If you dress up as a melee class, then you are one. There are no pesky stats to worry about. You just need the right tools for the job. It's very much the embodiment of the whole dress for the job you want thing, and it's so much better because of it. While in many games, you can often feel locked into one class for the rest of the game, Terraria doesn't ask you to choose at the beginning of your play. Instead, it just wants you to mess around with all of the tools it's offering you, and that's one of the many reasons it's such a delight to play. You can even mix and match with your class, although you can expect to get shut down by the late bosses if you do so. That being said, being a summoner with an all-powerful yo-yo is a surprisingly large amount of fun. The ability to mess around with classes like that is something that I personally really appreciate because I have huge commitment issues when it comes to classes in games. I generally want to be either a mage or a rogue, so the ability to play as either or as I'm going through a game makes it much more enjoyable for me. And that's basically the thing that I really love about the game. Although to be honest, I've put several hundred hours into the game, so it's probably more than that that's really keeping me hooked. While that's all I'm going to talk about regarding Terraria, I will be back for other videos, including how to pronounce Terraria or Terraria or however else I've pronounced it. If you like what you've seen today, then feel free to like the video and subscribe to my YouTube channel, as well as going to my Patreon and subscribing to that maybe if you can, which is patreon.com/EndofTheyStrife, or just finding me on Twitter, which is @EndofTheyStrife. Either way, I'll see you next week for my What I Love About series.